Hi, welcome. My name's Lee Kenny from Snowflake Media, the organisers behind Halifax SOS, and I'm thrilled to have you here. I should say this is not our day job. This is not what we do for a living. We don't put on events. We don't do video and production, but we really wanted to do something to help. You know, our day-to-day job is making websites for companies around the world, doing their marketing, but the whole video thing, especially the lockdown and from home, has been really something else. So again, what I would say is through the weekend, bear that in mind. We've had to do a lot of this stuff on Zoom, over internet, with people in conditions they might not normally have done them in. So it might be a little scratchy in places, but bear with us because the lineup and some of the stuff that you're going to see this weekend is phenomenal. So as I say, thanks for joining. If you're watching this, it means you bought a ticket, and that's what it's all about, is raising funds. And what are we raising funds for? It's really two things. So the first thing is junior sports in the area. So we've already had, I think, just under 30 clubs apply saying they'd be interested in receiving some grant funding. The other 50% is going to go to Halifax Rugby League Club. So again, every penny you put in, every bit of ticket money or donations or the sponsors, it really does count. And the reason we're doing this is not doom and gloom. It's not a save our club type thing. We're a little bit more positive than that. We want these guys to really thrive and hit the ground running when they can. And being realistic, we do know, listen, we're sponsors of Halifax Rugby, Halifax Town, we do the Halicash promotion, we also Queen Sports Club, we get involved in a lot of this. And one thing talking to other business owners around and other sponsors is, there's going to be a bit less money once we get through the other side of lockdown. So what we're trying to do is get ahead. Those people, those clubs, those under 6s, under 10s, under 12s, for example, they might find it a little bit harder to get that kit sponsored this year. So thank you. By buying a ticket, that means that money, is not going anywhere else other than directly to those two things. So junior sports clubs in the area, not just rugby league, it's rugby union, it's football, it's squash, it's tennis, taekwondo I think is applied. So it could be any of those kind of sports, but junior clubs at the level, and then the other half to the rugby. Again, it's a really positive weekend. The list, unfortunately, I've got a list here because there's so many people you're going to see and hear from this weekend. So I'm just going to go from the top. In the world of rugby league, we've got Brian Carney from Sky Sports News. We've got Damien Gibson, Greg Florimo, Gavin Clinch, Des Clark, Gary Mercer, Jim Gannon, Marty Moana. They were interviewed, I think, by Matt Shaw, Mick O'Byrne, Graham Garrett, Dave Callan and John Martin. Again, great names, those through the 70s and 80s. Players' Cup winners, a couple of those guys too. We got Dave Grayson from the club. We got fan Will Bonfield, who did one of the interviews and again really stepped up. So it's quite interesting for a different perspective and a little bit of a different programming. We've got Brian Moore, the 3-time Grand Slam winning ex-England hooker. Very interesting interview with him coming up. He talks about the Peace Hall, some controversial stuff there. He also talks about women's game, junior game, international development, how he'd be advising World Rugby going forward, and also talks about wine. So fascinating interview, you won't want to miss that. We sat down with Hannah Cockcroft and Lizzie Jones. They sat down, in fact, with ITV's Gaynor Barnes. And again, a lovely, lovely interview. Tells you how Hannah's coping with training, what her plans are, Lizzie, all the things she's doing and the funds and the charity and homeschooling and juggling. So again, a really nice spot. And of course, Harry Gratian came in as well to do a couple of the interview pieces as well. So really looking forward to that. R.C. Bridgestock, the authors and crime writers and TV consultants, they're going to join us. They're from Halifax, huge fans of Halifax and the Rocked Foundation, amongst a lot of other stuff. So you're going to hear from them. If ever you wanted to write a book, they even give some tips. So again, a little bit different, mixing it up. We're trying to keep this fun, light and positive. From the music world, we've got Jimbo Lynch, we've got Kieran Nicol, who is a Ed Sheeran tribute act, but also does other stuff as well. Really great voice. We've got Darren Jackson from In Echoes. Always like to hear from him. He's been on the scene a long time. Simon Greenhill, originally from Halifax, but almost a musical and Alfie Boe type character. Very interesting. And thank you to the guys who gave us a picture of when he was 13 years old, which you'll see on the slide. We've got Callum Butterworth from The Voice. So again, he's going to be joining us and giving you some tunes as well. Comedy, really the two favourites locally, Lee Roberts and Pete Emmett. We're going to be hearing from those guys. So again, very, very generous with the time. First in the list to say yes will help, which is fantastic. We're going to hear from the Peace Hall. We're going to hear from the Brighouse Town owner, Yorkshire Payments boss, James Howard, which is really good. Going to hear from the Fax Trust, Halifax Opportunities Trust and Alison. And again, some messages directly from the council telling, again, sports clubs how they can get more money. There's a message there from the leader. Calderdale Smart Move, they've been kind enough to record a message and get behind us. I know they're big with, I think, Crossley's junior sports team. We got an amazing cricket video. You would not believe some of the names on these crickets. So, again, from Sidebottom to Brathwaite, Sir Curtly Ambrose, all giving messages in of support for local sport in Halifax, in this area, which is fantastic. Our dream is to fill a virtual share. I don't think we're going to do that, but you know what? I really appreciate you being here, and any money the clubs have said that can be raised is going to be gratefully received. So I think before we even started, we're doing well. I think there's £5,000 I think already being raised just through ticket sales and a little sponsorship. And hopefully through the course of today, you'll like what you see. You maybe share it with people. Keep using the hashtag. If you use Twitter and Facebook, maybe even Instagram, get used to using that hashtag Halifax SOS. Let's see if we can start trending over the weekend. Each time we introduce one of the bigger acts, if they've got a Twitter account, we've put their Twitter handle and their Facebook. So again, go ahead, retweet. If there's things you like, treat it like the shows on television, sound bites, getting them out there, and hopefully create a buzz. And again, who knows, we may end up doing this SOS again for sports. It's certainly been a lot of fun to do. Even though it's not our... I think we're going to hear from Hilary Barber, the Canon Hilary Barber from the Minster. Cammy, Chris Kamara, you may have seen this on social media already, but God bless him. Yeah, thanks to the guys at Sky Sports and again, particular Steve Lambert down at the Halifax Rugby Club opened those doors to both Brian Carney as well as Cammy. And again, I think yesterday we were looking at this and there was like 40,000 views of this video. So hopefully we'll welcome in a few people from around the country. Special mention, I know we've got a lot of friends actually who bought tickets from Melbourne, Australia, as well as out in Canada and the US as well. So special mention to you guys. I know you're not from Halifax, but again, we know there's lots of rugby players from around the world have come to Halifax, and indeed from Halifax have gone around the world. Financially, again, there's no charge to put this on. We've done all this with volunteers. I think I'd like to kind of say a big shout out to a few people. I think Alex from T-Rex Media, he's the guy who's put all the videos together once we've sent it. And again, he's done a sterling job at very short notice. Everybody who's given their time, whether that's the Petes, the Lees, the Bryans, Gibbo, bringing it forward, it's been an absolute blessing. And from a sponsorship side, I just want to give a special mention because that really tops the fund up and it takes it above and beyond. And again, these guys are not going to get anything, specifically from it. It's not in their interest, but they've all said, how can we help? How can we put something back? So let me just read you a few of those because I don't want to miss anybody out. So Chadwick Lawrence, a legal firm, go check them out. Very good. We've used them in the past for mortgages and all sorts, but so this is a very good firm. Craig's Business Parks, Heidi and the team out there, very, very supportive. They've got some fantastic business units, and again, when we get through lockdown, I think people will be sick of being at home, so go check out Craig's Business Park. They've got some beautiful locations. C. Kirsch, or Chris Kirsch, thank you. You've probably seen him sponsoring the socks over at the rugby club. I know he does a lot of stuff, so again, next time you see him, just give him a little pat on the back. Again, one of the first guys to jump in. We've got Fax Trust. They were the first sponsors to jump in. So that's the Independent Supporters Trust for Halifax Rugby. And again, it didn't matter that this is going to be multi-sports and multi-discipline. They said, how can we help? And again, thank you. If you're a member and you contribute to that fund, then, thanks. That's really, really appreciated. Don't worry, I'm going to be off shortly. You're not here to see me. You're here to see all these guys. So I'll just wrap this up. We've also got thank you to StudyRight 11 Plus and GCSE Tuition. Vicky Queenan over there. You can check them out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Again, great organisation, very successful. Obviously in a town with 2 grammar schools. Lots of call for that as well and very competitive. But again, go check them out on Facebook as well. And we've got Zenith. So Richard Durgan, Zenith from Independent Wealth Management. Again, a chap I know that really gives a lot to all levels of sport. Incredibly generous, Halifax guy. So again, I just tip my hat to you guys and say thank you very much. You know, it made things a heck of a lot easier. And in those hours and hours of pulling all this stuff together, it really made a big difference. Also, as I say, I want to say thank you to a couple of other people. Sky Sports News. They were, again, very kindly retweeting things for us, which is terrific because I don't think they normally do that for a smaller town environment. Halifax Rugby League Club have just been phenomenal in terms of their support. You know, we had a vision as to what we wanted to do, and Dave Grayson and the team down there really, you know, they really got it straight away. And I know there were lots of current crop of Halifax Rugby League players. So if you're wondering why we don't have any of the current team, well, because it's a fundraiser and some of that money is going to go to the club, all the staff, nearly all the staff, all the players are furloughed, like a lot of you are at home. So again, don't mistake the fact that they weren't involved for them not wanting to be involved, but we don't want them breaking any regulations or taxation or anything like that or getting the club into trouble. So again, thanks to those guys. Ian Buckley and Mike Sheldrake, again from the rugby club, they really you know, went to bat for us, and obviously the media team as well. So again, much appreciated. And finally, I would just say Community Foundation for Calderdale. If you don't know who they are, go and check out CFFC, Community Foundation for Calderdale.co.uk. They do a huge amount of good. They're giving out grants, tens of thousands over the years. They've distributed millions and millions over the years and continue to be a really great organisation. So go check those out. They're very good. And let me tell you what we're going to do next. So in terms of the next running order, I think I mentioned Cammy. So what we're going to do is next up we're going to see Cammy, and then stay tuned for a really insightful interview from Brian Moore. He was not born in Halifax, but here from before he was 1 year old and stayed right the way through to going to university. If you follow Brian on Twitter or you've seen him in his BBC commentary, you'll know he doesn't pull his punches. So look forward to that. See you on the other side of that.